This is one of the many mountain bell yards used by outside plant technicians. Here's where the workday begins. As an outside plant technician, you will be working with many pieces of heavy equipment, checking, preparing, and loading them for the day's work. Like other plant jobs, your first requirement each morning is to meet with your foreman. It is at this meeting where your job progress is checked, work assignments are made, and problem areas discussed. Time will also be spent discussing complex job prints which detail the required job tasks. After the meeting is over, you will load the necessary tools and equipment onto the truck or trailer and drive the vehicle to the work location. One of your major responsibilities will always be to observe established safety rules and procedures and wear appropriate safety equipment. It should be pointed out that outside plant technicians work in crews and that the actual work site may remain the same for several months at a time. Perhaps the best way to demonstrate the job requirements of an outside plant technician is to follow several steps of a typical job sequence. Once the work site has been properly barricaded and the job plans laid out, you will begin the work by operating a trencher. It is in this trench that the underground cable will be laid.
It's scary the first couple times that you're using, especially a trencher or anything that goes in the ground. You know that there are things sometimes in the way, gas lines, power lines, our own cable, water lines, and I don't know about anybody else, but I was scared to death the first time I operated a trencher. It makes a very loud noise as far as the machinery goes. And I was pretty much petrified, but it's not something that you back down from doing when, you know, one of the other crew members is showing you how to operate it. It's exciting, too. And there's hardly anything I don't enjoy about operating equipment. I like doing it.
Even though trenching equipment is used, you will be required to periodically remove excess dirt from the trench with a shovel.
I've always been an outdoor type of a person, and yet when I started in July, just about the hottest part of the year, it did bother me a lot to be out because you're out all day long. You don't have any place to go in to be cool.
Once the trench has been completed, a backhoe will be used to dig a pit so that additional work can be accomplished. The skill required to properly handle a backhoe is precise, demanding extreme care so that sidewalks, curbs, and private property will not be damaged unnecessarily.
What is difficult, the way that we're raised in a society as far as women are concerned, to jump right into the job and start working, doing the hard physical work when for so many years you've been used to standing back and letting a man do for you, you know, lift the heavy box of things or dig the hole in the ground in my situation as far as that job goes. And it's something that you just have to get used to, is to get in there and do it because it is your job.
There will be areas where digging an open trench is not possible. This is normally the situation when cable must be run under a city street. In that case, you will bore a hole under the street so that the telephone cable can be pulled through. This particular job can be long and frustrating. The job of boring requires all crew members to work together. While one member aims the drill bit under the street, The other crew members apply pressure by pushing against the handles of the boring gun. When a bore must be made over long distances, it is possible for the drill bit to vary off course and miss the open pit on the other side of the street. When that happens, the crew members will usually change places and then begin the process of boring all over again.
Boring can be a 50-50 type situation of making it or not making it. There are people on a crew who are gifted for doing that kind of thing, and it makes it easier sometimes when they're aiming it. There are tricks to it, and it takes a while to learn what to look for and why it may not be coming out where it's supposed to be. And it just takes time. It can be very frustrating to get a bore across within 3 tries, let's say.
Once the trenching and boring operations have been completed, you will be ready to lay the telephone cable. This operation requires one person to slowly drive the cable truck forward while another guides the cable into the trench. It will also require the cable to be pulled through the bored hole under the street. This is accomplished by tying the cable to one of the tractors and then slowly pulling it through.
At times the job can be as much as it takes all my strength to be able to do it, everything, and if I don't have enough strength, I have to figure out and use my brain to figure out a different way to do it so that I can get by and be able to do whatever I'm trying to do. It's extremely difficult. I believe I was told 100 pounds was what I would have to be able to lift, and there are times when I think it's closer to 150 pounds or 160 pounds that you maybe not lift, but at least have to move in one way or another. And you do have to be careful not to strain yourself. There are very few times when you do have to do something like that by yourself, and there's always help available.
Once the cable is in the trench, the outside plant technician may be required to pull one end of the cable up a telephone pole so that it may be spliced into existing telephone lines. When climbing a pole, one of the first safety requirements is to perform the climber cutout test. This test ensures that your climbing equipment is functioning properly.
It's exciting. It's scary at first. I wish we could have more opportunity to climb poles. That's my feeling about it. I like the feeling of being not scared. I wouldn't say scared, but it's just exciting to be able to do it. Once you start doing work while you're up on a pole, you forget about the distance to the ground and things like that. And as long as you're careful and remember the things that you're taught in climbing school, there's usually no danger of falling. When, in the big sense, feeling good about this job is knowing that you're providing a service for people, and I like that part of it. I also like, on a smaller scale, being able to accomplish small parts of the job and get it finished. And the hard work and physical labor is satisfying to me, too. It just, at the end of the day, when you can look back and see what you've accomplished and know that it took time and effort, and being able to know what you're doing is satisfying to me.
The work of an outside plant technician is strenuous, requiring a variety of skills. The work is done outside in all types of weather, and the tasks involved require the strength to lift objects of 100 pounds or more. You may find yourself working with a shovel in a trench. Operating tractors with trenchers or backhoes. Climbing telephone poles. Or maneuvering a bore gun. Is it the job for you? Only you can answer that question. But if you enjoy working outdoors, doing strenuous physical labor, and if you are looking for a rewarding work experience, then the job of outside plant technician just might be for you.